During the month of May, we observe Older Americans Month. During this month, we will celebrate the strength of older adults and allow them to have the joy of sharing their life stories with you. We hope their stories will support and inspire you in being a part of your own community of strength. Today's interview is with Peter Wilson and his sweetheart, Julia. Peter is a full-time caregiver to Julia. Listen to Peter and Julia as they tell their life stories as we honor them during our Older Americans Month. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
Well, I'm going to interview you for the Older Americans Month in May, and we are honoring older Americans for what they do as a caregiver for someone else. And I know you are a caregiver to Julia.
Yes.
Now you are in the middle of fixing up a house, 2 houses, also caring for Julia. But you are in a situation where you have years and years of memories and history that you have to go through because over the years, the attic got quite full, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It got so full that it's caused the ceiling in the living room to sag a few inches, quite 7 or 8 inches, maybe 9 or 10. So, yes, I have a problem with stuff.
And whose stuff is it?
Well, it's mostly Julia's. I'd say probably 80% Julia's, her family, her parents, her daughter, and maybe even her grandparents' stuff. And it's good stuff. And so it's creating a real difficult situation for me, asking Julia what she wants to keep, what she wants to get rid of. And she wants to keep most of it, and we have no room for it. And it's very frustrating. I've set up half a dozen tables, and hopefully this coming weekend, if the weather cooperates, I hope to have a gigantic yard sale. And there are thousands of items. And so far, she overwhelmingly is saying, no, I don't want to get rid of this. It's all sentimental to her.
Yes.
And I'm pulling my hair out because we are having to have our ceiling in our front room redone because it's sagged from the weight of stuff in the attic that I'm now dragging out of the attic. And it's a nightmare because every room in the house is full of our stuff, mostly hers, and I have to go through everything item by item, and I'm not going to get rid of anything that she doesn't want me to.
So when they come to repair the roof, everything has to be gone, empty, correct?
Well, it's only one room. It's the main room. It's the biggest room in the house. It's the front room, and that room has to be empty for them to work up on that ceiling. They have to jack up the ceiling. It's sagging by about 8 inches.
Wow. They
have to jack it up. Yeah, it's terrible. And then they can fix the ceiling joists. And there's going to have to be a beam across the middle of the room. And then they can put sheetrock up, and it'll look nice again. It's hilarious. If I have the right frame of mind, it's hilarious. But it's the term I thought of the other day was an embarrassment of riches, because we have a lot of good stuff, and yet stuff can become problematic.
You've had several years to collect this stuff. How long have you and Julia been together?
We've been together 24 and a half years. And the reason we're in this situation is because I've been a truck driver for 20 years of that time period. And I was a truck driver before I met Julia. And so it just has accumulated, and now it's time to pay the piper.
So you're trying to figure out who might want some of this stuff.
Well, some's going to go to charity organizations like the Asheville Buncombe Christian Ministry and Goodwill and other outlet stores. Some stuff's going to go into a dumpster that's presently sitting in the front yard. And some stuff I'm going to try to sell at the yard sale we're having with these tables set up outside. And the main problem is every item has to be gone through. There's a lot of really good stuff. As I mentioned to you earlier, I found 3 British passports that I had from the 1960s and the 70s and 80s that had been missing for more than 20 years. And there's one picture from the mid-60s when I had a government job in England, and then there's a picture of me from 1970 after I had resigned from that position and was becoming a bit of a bohemian hippie type. And I've got a Fu Manchu mustache and long hair, and very different from my earlier picture. And then there's another one of me with long hair, and then there's one of me when I was 40 in 1986, my last older passport, where I look more conservative. So it's a time capsule. And
do you feel like you're a very different person than you were back there, or you're just older but the same person?
Well, both, actually, if that's possible, in the sense that for people in general, we're all different, and yet we're all the same. Mm-hmm. And I find that very interesting and amusing. It's rather ironic, but yes, I am the same person, but my life has gone through several very different phases. So
where were you born?
1946 in London, England.
And when did you leave London, England?
1968, I came to America, immigrated in 1972.
When did you meet Julia?
1996.
So what do you believe Julia saw in you, and what did you see in her when you met?
Well, first what she saw in me. Well, I don't really know, because I was kind of an easygoing, happy-go-lucky kind of not young at the time. I was 40. No, hang on, 96, 50. Yes. Judy was 2.5 years older than me. I was 15, she was 52. I was a truck driver. We met through a mutual friend at a party, dinner party. I guess she fell in love with me. She was very sophisticated, very beautiful, and from a very wonderful family. I always have wondered what she saw in me. We just had a new roof put on. It's an old house. It's 95 years old. And we just had a new roof put on. And this week or next week, well, some of the siding's having to be replaced. It's in terrible shape. So we've had to order new, it's called German siding, seldom used anymore. And we've had to special order it. And the carpenter's going to be working on that this week. And then next week, we're going to get the house painted and get new gutters put on. I'm very excited about it.
I think it's honorable to you, Peter, that you're working with Julia, asking her what she wants to keep.
Well, Julia is very attached to her sentimental possessions, and she has a lot of them.
You have pets, right? You have cats?
Oh, yes. We were adopted by a male and female couple of stray cats, and they left 3 litters on our doorstep. And what are we going to do with 3 litters of little bitty kittens? So, yes, they adopted us, and we've been taking care of them to the best of our ability. They're our family, and we love them very much.
How many cats do you have?
Well, around about 12, but once in a while, one of the neighbor's cats will meander down from the top of the hill and get some of the food too. So presently we've got 8 outdoor cats. They've all had their shots, and 4 indoor cats. And I can name them all for you if you'd like me to.
Yes, I'd like to know their names.
Okay, well, the indoor cats, we have Callie, and we have 2 cats in the kitchen area, Mellow Yellow and Bitsy. And we have the mother of all the cats except for Callie. So she also lives in a part of the kitchen. We call her Mama Kitty, or just Mama. And outdoors we have, her name is Sadie. And then we have Trieste, Wraparound, Foxy, Eeny Meeny. Julia's favorite cat is Sadie, and she is the underdog. No, excuse me, the undercat. She's the one I told you about. And all the other cats try to chase her away, but she's very determined not to be chased away. So when they try to chase her away at feeding time, Julia's got into the habit now of screaming at them to stop them from bullying Sadie. And that's what she's doing. Boy, she's really going at it. I've never heard her like this before. This is new to me. I've heard her yell at the other cats to stop them from bullying Sadie, but I've never heard her screaming like this before. I'm going to go and check on her, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Cassie.
Hi. Is she okay?
She's not okay. She fell, and she can't get up. And I have to go out the front door and round to the back door, which is open to get in, because she locks the kitchen door to stop the other cats getting out. So I'm going to be gone a few minutes. I'll be back soon, okay?
Okay.
Hello?
Hey, how is she?
She's okay. She tripped over the door jamb, and she couldn't get up. That's why she was screaming.
Oh.
However, I have heard her screaming at the cats to let Sadie feed. So that's what I thought it was. No, it wasn't. So she's okay. Kathy, this is Julie. She wants to say hello to you.
Hi, Julia. Hi, Julia.
Hello, Kathy. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. You have a very nice voice.
Well, it's a mixture of Southern and Yankee. I'll explain that to you about my family and how we moved north. My father moved north for various reasons, which I will tell you later.
Julia, you are wonderful to talk with. I have already interviewed Peter, and he gave a very nice interview, and he admires you very much, I can tell you that. I'm glad you didn't get hurt when you fell.
Okay.
All right, Julia.
Talk to you later. Keep safe.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi, Julia. This is Kathy.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you today?
Well, I fell, and it's causing difficulties,
Oh, my.
I'm a tough old broad.
How long have you lived in Asheville?
I moved here with my daughter 1998. So she had 4 years of living in the mountains too. But she's a city person all the way. I like the mountains. My parents, when they moved to Asheville, I was so happy because it was so beautiful. It had 3 seasons, and it was just great retirement place for Mom and Dad. And then, of course, my mom had Alzheimer's. Dad had a stroke. Peter, I made the house with, so it was Alzheimer's friendly at one of Peter's houses. I love her, and so I came and looked after her for 10 years with Alzheimer's. She came and lived with me in Peter's house because her condo was not suitable to her, with stairs and all of that. And anyway, after Daddy died, I sold the condo, and she could live the rest of her life very comfortable. And I learned about how to take care of her, how to change diapers, how to give showers, made the bathroom suitable for her, and all that, and rented a machine to lift her out of the bed. I did all that stuff. And I loved it because I became familiar with Alzheimer's, and I became a champion of people who have it and people who support people with Alzheimer's. And I became in charge of the Alzheimer's Association in Asheville while Mom was alive. But I had wonderful parents.
Tell me about your mom and dad.
Okay, let me tell you about where I was born first.
Okay.
My father went to Ames Iowa to get. He had gone to LSU because he was from Louisiana, and then he went to Ames, Iowa, because it had the reputation of having a great physics department. Physics. And he got his PhD in physics. Now we get to Washington, D.C., where I was born. He thought he should go and fight because other men were losing their lives in World War II, but he had already acknowledged he was a great physicist. The Germans had ocean mines that would blow up our naval vessels, as well as personal vessels. I mean, ordinary people, passenger ships, and many people had lost their lives with these ocean mines. So Daddy invented a way to break the magnetism, because all boats had metal bottoms. And he invented a way how to degauss, which means demagnetize these landmines, ocean landmines.
Wow.
And for that, he won the Congressional Medal of Honor. He and Mom did a lot of other things, too, and I am so grateful to them for being my parents. And I had a wonderful brother. What he did, he never knew about Hawaii, but he went into the Peace Corps, and because he didn't want to fight in the war. And so he joined the Peace Corps, and then he had to visit Hawaii and found out he loved it so much he just stayed there from then on after the Peace Corps. And he did a lot of help and helped juvenile delinquents. That's where he really saved a lot of lives. Later on, because he never ended up being married, what he did was he had involved so much with children. He said, I would like to go get a child in Asia who hadn't had all these problematic things, with brutality. And so he went to Korea and offered a little Korean boy when he was 2 years old, and brought him back. And Kenneth is a doll. I love Kenneth. He is one of my loves. He is my nephew. Daddy and Mother were Southerners, one from South Louisiana and one from North Louisiana. So my parents, for other reasons, they moved us north to Illinois to get my brother and I to get a good education. And had a wonderful childhood. And then during that period, my dad was asked to go to Myanmar, which was then Burma, and we spent 4 years there. It was the best gift he ever gave us. I was in third grade when I went, and 4 years later, we returned to the United States.
And then what brought you to North Carolina?
My parents, when they retired, wanted to have warmer weather, and they made a trip to Asheville and fell in love with it because it had three climates. They could have an autumn and a summer and a spring, and they fell in love with it.
You raised an amazing, intelligent daughter, didn't you?
Yeah, and she is the love of my life, but I'm just, with all this COVID, I'm not still taking the chance of getting sick, but thank God for it, because she's the one who's been sending us Lysol and rubber gloves of all types and all that kind of stuff, and masks.
So you told me a lot of interesting things about your father and your brother and your daughter. Tell me something about yourself.
My mother did a lot of work with Down syndrome, involved with Down syndrome kids. So then I became Down syndrome kids. So I've worked a lot with Down syndrome kids. And then I also became of the Alzheimer's Association in Asheville. I became the head of the Asheville Association for people with Alzheimer's, and brought in doctors from all over the United States, and they taught everyone the difference between Alzheimer's and the difference with other types of dementia, because there are many other types of the dementia. And then, of course, after Mom died, I looked after her for 12 years, and then she finally died, and lived, had a very comfortable life in her own house because I didn't want her in a nursing home. I met Peter, and he came to a friend's house and has his family from England, and he walked in the door. My first impression was, ooh, what a looker. He was a very, and still is a very handsome man. But then, to make things better, when my friends got us together, they'd invite Peter and I to their house, and we found out we had so much in common. And although he may not have had the formal education like I did, he is a man who read more. You know what his mother gave him as his first gift when he was 4 years old? An Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, wow.
And he read the whole thing. We eventually just got together and have been together ever since.
And that's been, what, 25 years or how many years?
Yeah, about 25 years, yes.
He's good to you, isn't he?
Yes, he is. What I did when he was trucking, I found out that I was a very good person to redo old houses. So what I did is restored he was lucky. He bought 2 houses in Asheville that still have forest land on them, but then I learned, unbeknownst to me, that I was really good at restoring old homes, because one house was 1922 and the other 1923. We're getting this house fixed up.
Well, it's hard to go through things that you have saved for a long time and trying to figure out what to keep and what to sell or get rid of. That's not easy to do.
Well, it's not.
Well, you have had an amazing life.
Well, both of us have our own lives, and how he came over here and working in Kentucky, and how he ended up in Asheville and all of that. He has had a fascinating life, and for him to turn out to be the great man that he is with all of he didn't have the advantages that I did. I think it's remarkable in itself.
What I am doing is making these videos. The month of May is celebrating Older Americans Month. You lived an amazing life, and you have parents and your brother to be very proud of, and I hear that in your voice. And you did an amazing job telling me about your life.
I want you to remember, I'm very proud of Peter, too. I don't want you to forget how special Peter has been in my life, and how grateful I am to have met him at a friend's house.
Well, Julia, it is so nice meeting you, and I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to do this interview, because I know you probably don't feel well, especially after falling.
Wonderful padded chair that my spine doesn't hurt in it, and I don't want to go silently into the night. I don't know if you know that. I want to go out with a bang. Okay, take it easy.
Okay, bye.
Bye.